the receipt exams for the basic core subjects.
Also speaking, the special advisor to Governor Nyesom Wiki on ICT, Asao Ibufuro, said the schools which have been given accreditation can be checked online through the Rivtemis platform.
Rivtemis will be used to let the public know all the schools that have been accredited, whether it is interim or full accreditation, and also those that have been denied, accreditation. So the platform will be used to make the public know the people that are in the various, categories that have been stated. By the close of business tomorrow, that would have been up on the platform. So the public can actually go to that platform now and then begin to see schools that are approved and not approved in River State. With what has happened now, and then the ministry going to enforce, definitely any school that is not on the platform will not be recognized as we progress. All the schools that have been approved definitely will be on the platform. A message will be going out as well in that regard. So every school that has, and then the ones that were denied approval will be removed from the platform.
Our correspondent reports that the subjects for the receipts are mathematics, English, basic science, and social studies. The River State House of Assembly Committee on Education has been directed to look into the non-implementation of the River State Education Teaching of Indigenous Languages in Schools Law Number 4 of 2003. The House reached the resolution following the presentation of the motion questioning why the law is yet to be implemented. Speaker of the House, Ikunyo Bani, in his resolution asked the Committee on Education to invite the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Education to explain why the law has not been implemented since its passage over 10 years ago.
And that my knowledge of anthropology also reveals that there is that department of anthropology called linguistic anthropology, which studies how language actually influences social life of a given people and society, meaning language is very important. And for the River State House of Assembly to pass a law in 2003 means the values or the advantages attached to such laws well known to members of the River State House of Assembly as 2003. So I believe that the Minister of Education should be able to look at the issue.
Sponsor of the motion, Anselm Agogo, representing Ikwere constituency, told the Assembly Press Group Corps that local rivers languages should be introduced to the academic curriculum of the state.
This law has been in existence since the 30th day of July 2005, but has not been implemented by the various agencies. They will not feel that it is necessary for us as lawmakers to see how they can revisit or implement that aspect of law. But this law has been in existence in some other states. Like as we know, if you go to North, they speak their northern language. If you go to the western part of the country, they speak their language. If you go to the eastern part of the country, they speak their language. But here we have this law. But the failure for the implementation, that is why we have to see today, that's why we have to sponsor a motion asking the UBE board or every agency that is necessary that has a role to play for this law to be in practice in Rivers State. Because
more details have emerged into the death of a student of the University of Port Harcourt, Prince Digbani, who allegedly committed suicide in his room at Alu Community. Our correspondent Priye Izogu gathered that the late Digbani had expressed frustration with the way his life was going, which he believed was going nowhere. He was reported to have told his friend about his plan to commit suicide, but later claimed it was a joke when his friend attempted to stop him from being alone. The 400 engineering student was later found to have swallowed sniper insecticide after mixing it with yogurt. A neighbor of the late Digbani described him as an intelligent and hardworking student.
Drank the poison. I saw the nutriment that I want to use the poison. I was at the gate. I was going outside to get something when he was coming inside with the nutriment. So I was like playing with him. Okay, you don't need buy you. You know, will carry me along. So now laugh and say, this is my only thing that I want to do for today. So I was like, bash me some now. Say no reason now.
The Labour movement in River State says it will resist the Contributory Healthcare Protection Bill of the State House of Assembly if it is made compulsory. Chairman of the River State Council of the Nigerian Labour Congress, Beatrice Otubo, said the bill should not be made compulsory for workers. While commending the state government for its initiative to ensure the proper healthcare of workers, Otubo warned that workers must not be forced to enroll into the scheme. Speaking in an interview with our correspondent, Chinedu Iwuna, the Labour leader said her union will not hesitate to take a legal action against the state government if the bill is passed the way it is.
Where we have issues is the way and manner it is being administered, or the way they are about going to go about it. Because you don't force anybody to enter into any contributions, whether be it health or any other. It is something that should be voluntary. And we are saying nobody should use the workers as the guinea pig. Go out there and start with members of the public, with the people in the informal sector. When you start from there, then any worker who is interested and wants to key in, there should be forms. They will fill, and from there they will begin to deduct their money. It's not just at the end of the month you make a law and you begin to deduct people's money arbitrarily and without their consent. We will say no to that, and of course, we will be ready to challenge even up to the Supreme Court if that is the case. But we are saying we are not against it. It's a good one, it's a lofty one, but let it not be a kind of compulsory. People should be able to voluntarily and say, I want to belong or I don't want to belong.
A university don, Austin Sado, has said the decision of Senator Sabi Abdullahi to amend the said controversial hate speech bill is meaningless. Sado, who is also a senior lecturer in the Department of Linguistics and Communication Studies at the University of Port Harcourt, said the bill should be dropped. Speaking with our correspondent, Ifunanya Obemendukwe, the Uniport lecturer, said the Nigerian law has already made enough provision to control offenders that infringe on the rights of people, making references to defamation and damages. He said the proposed law is totalitarian in nature.
Amending the punishment from death penalty to imprisonment has no meaning. In the first place, there is no need for that law. We have in our laws enough control against any form of infringement on the right of other persons through what we say. What remedy is better than defamation and damages? It simply means that people will be gagged, people will be stopped from expressing themselves, and the only intention for doing that will be to have a totalitarian regime. In Nigeria, we are making law to stop people from expressing themselves. It will only take us back to the dark ages. We hope that Nigerians during the public hearing of this will completely throw this bill away. Because if you look at our laws, those who steal from us, how much are they punished? Any which way you look at it, it is wrong. It is abuse of power.
The level of insecurity in parts of River State appears to have reduced following the creation of local vigilante groups and the efforts of security operatives in the state. Our correspondent gathered that since the creation of local security outfits, there has been a strong collaboration between the people and security operatives in the fight against crime, particularly in the East-West Road and the Owerri-Port Harcourt roads. Our correspondent observed that in communities in Ogoni, Ikwere, and Obandani local government areas, where there were worst hit by violent activities, now record less violent attacks. Some respondents from Ogoni and Ikwere communities, including youth advocate Brighter Bali, commended the efforts of the local vigilante groups and other stakeholders for the new strategy in curbing insecurity.
As the leader of River State Indigenous Peace Advocate, RIPA, we set up a machinery to look into crime rate, and we discovered that the crime rate that was seen in a ratio of 30 casualties per month have dropped drastically to 5 casualties in the recent 2 months now. We are appealing to the government and the people of River State to brace up and sustain this tempo. It is possible that we can live in River State without crime.
The spokesman of River State Police Command, Nnamdi Omoni, who is a deputy superintendent of police, in an interview with our correspondent, commended the collaboration of members of local vigilante with the police. The chairman of the River State Council of Traditional Rulers, His Royal Highness Danderson Jaja, said the Operation Sting initiated by the River State government has reduced crime rate in the state to a manageable level. King Jaja made the observation at the South-South Security Summit held in Asaba, Delta State, He told the gathering that the Rivers State government was working hard to ensure that the state is secured. He also advocated for community policing, where traditional rulers will be carried along in the process.
Governments are doing the best. For instance, in Rivers State, our governor, the administration has come up with what we call Operation Sting. And Operation Sting, I'm sure the IG knows how well funded with equipment and all that had been done in Rivers State. And that has brought criminality down to a very manageable position. Is it necessary that traditional rulers are given a primary place in the community policing because they are the leaders, the custodians of culture and tradition of their people? They understand the sensibilities of their people.
The Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, has called for the support of the people of the South-South region in the fight against crime. The police IG made the appeal at the South-South Security Summit in Asaba. Adamu noted that the support of the people will aid in the police in sustaining the gains which the police has made in fighting crime across the country.
You, as strategic stakeholders in the South-South, to support us in sustaining, strengthening, and advancing in the interest of our communal and internal security. In furtherance to this, we shall soon be relaunching the Safer Highway Motorized Patrol Scheme as well as Safer City Scheme. We have acquired additional fleet of vehicles, some of which are equipped with the police smart surveillance, that is CCTV camera on the move equipment, which is a state-of-the-art vehicle-mounted mobile policing asset for monitoring and securing the public space. This is part of my commitment to the concept of technology-driven policing. Some of these police smart surveillance patrol vehicles shall be deployed for the surveillance and security of our oil pipelines.
On his part, the governor of Delta State, Ifeanyi Okowa, in his opening address, stressed the need to build trust between the police and Nigerians. The governor also stressed the need for community policing in the country, describing security as everyone's business.
Regrettably, the relationship between the police and the average citizen in our country is currently marred by distrust, suspicion, and even outright resentment. The police is generally perceived not as a friend, but as a conquering force working at the behest of those of us who are in the ruling class. There is therefore a compelling need to break down the walls of apathy and rebuild the trust through deliberate policies and actions. And I think that is one of the important steps that have been taken by the Inspector General of Police to try to rebuild the trust and make the people work together with the police.
You're listening to the World News on Today 95.1 FM, Voice of the People. After the break, more news and sports stories. Stay with us.
Every hour, when the big stories break, depend on our 24-hour news team to bring you the latest. Today 95.1 FM.
Welcome back. We're still listening to the World News here on Today 95.1 FM. It's 24 minutes after 7. The Nigerian Senate appears set to tackle electoral violence by coming up with a bill to address election and post-election violence in the country. This follows Senator George Sekibo's citing of Orders 42 and 52 and moving a motion on public electoral violence during plenary. The lawmakers condemned the spate of killings in the country and observed a minute silence in honor of those that lost their lives in the just concluded elections in Bayelsa and Kogi State. The upper chamber said the proposed bill, if signed into law, will prescribe severe punishment for perpetrators of violence during any election in the country. Senate President Ahmed Lawan also, during the plenary, called on security agencies to bring to justice the killers of the PDP woman leader in Kogi, Achejo Avo. The Monetary Policy Committee of the Central Bank of Nigeria has retained the benchmark rate of 13.5%. CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele disclosed this decision during a media briefing at the end of a two-day MPC meeting held at the Apex Bank's headquarters in Abuja. Emefiele explained that the committee unanimously voted to retain the MPR after the rates were reduced from 14% to 13.5% in March 2019, the first time the MPR was reduced since July 2016. He said the committee reviewed the upside and downside options to either tighten, hold, or loosen, and decided to hold policies at its current position. The Prime Minister of Netherlands, Mark Rutte, said he's overwhelmed by the size of Nigeria and its population. Rutte described everything about Nigeria as huge, noting that Lagos alone has more people living there than the whole of Netherlands. The Dutch Prime Minister spoke in Abuja after meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari at the presidential villa. Rutte came to Nigeria on a 2-day visit to review and strengthen bilateral relations and trade ties with Nigeria. And on the foreign scene, 36 people have died in Democratic Republic of Congo's capital, Kinshasa, after torrential overnight rains. A top official told newsmen that the rain swept many away by landslides. The provincial interior minister gave an initial figure of 36 deaths. But Kinshasa's vice governor, Neron Mbungu, told AFP that rescue operations are ongoing. And now to end the news, here's a summary of the major stories. River State government has announced the release of certificates for junior WAEC examinations. Chairman of the River State Council of Traditional Rulers, His Royal Highness Dandison Jaja, has advocated for the inclusion of traditional rulers in community policing. The Nigerian Senate has commenced moves to tackle electoral violence. And on the foreign scene, 36 people are now feared dead as heavy rain causes landslide in Kinshasa, Democratic Republic of Congo. And that was the news as edited by Victor Zama. For comments and inquiries, please call 081-443-43502 or send your emails to news@todayfmlive.com. You can also read our stories on www.todayfmlive.com. I am Annie Abdul Salam. Thank you for listening. Good morning.
Today's entertainment, today's sports, today's issues. Today on Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt. Radio has never been this good. Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt.
Hold on, Kata. No, don't say else. Just bring 5,000 now.
Only.
Make
the Kata day. Make the code remain.
Yeah, they worry.
You were not aware you're a thief. Now that you know that your money is coming from a thief, do you not see why you're a thief?
All right, still talking about affairs of the federal government. We understand also that the federal government...
Welcome to today's edition of Beats and Pieces in the Premium Talk and News Radio.
It's going to be 1-1 Morata. 1-0 is never good enough.
That's why we're called the voice of the people. Today, 95.1 FM, Port Act.
Here we go.
20. I'll tell you ours if you tell me yours. But first, let me walk you through our achievements so far in 2019. This year marks our 3-year anniversary in Port Harcourt with testimonies from happy investors who through our platform are excelling greatly. And in the spirit of celebration, we gave away a brand new car to a lucky winner. Also, we've been instrumental in the development of several small and medium scale enterprises and empowering individuals. Next year, 2020, our targets are to set up offices at Dubai, London, and Ghana. Also, we plan to launch a Result Investment Limited app for all our investors. Now you know our plans, how about you fit us into yours? Don't forget, we offer 10% profit of any capital invested with us at Result Investment Limited. Visit us today at number 10 NTA Road, Checkpoint Junction, Rumokuta, Port Harcourt. For more inquiries, please call 0903-652-7708 or 0815-518-9002 or visit www.resultinvestmentnigerialimited.com.
It's the time of the year. Come, let's chill together. Pop Chivita, make we jolly. Ooh, yeah. All over Nigeria, anywhere you day. Share Chivita with your family and friends. Enjoy this Christmas. Oh, 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 oh. Chivita season. Oh, oh, oh. Feel this Christmas. Oh, oh, oh. Let's celebrate with Chivita. Ooh, yeah. Oh, yeah, make we celebrate the life. No, they don't know waste my time. I go enjoy myself with tire. Plenty food to chop. Chivita juice with the vibe. Oh, yeah, make we chill, yo. Enjoy this Christmas. Oh, oh, oh. Let's celebrate.
the season with Chivita.
This is Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt, voice of the people.
For the best and most incisive sporting reports, tune in to Sports Attack on Today 95.1 FM every week morning at 7:30 a.m. My name is Daniel Igale, President of the Nigeria Wrestling Federation. I also listen to the show.
A very good morning and welcome to Sports Attack, reaching live on 95.1 FM right here in the Garden City of Port Harcourt. It's the 27th day of the month of November 2019. Time to talk sport. Wherever you are, go call your friends, call your enemies. The best sports show in the land, the best sports program on radio. And of course, my name is Emmanuel Chibuzo, the top striker this morning. Let's start from the sports minister this morning, where the Minister of Youth and Sports Development, Sandro Dare, says we must return to the fundamental or foundation issues of sports in Nigeria for the growth of sports in the country. Dare says going back to the basics is key for the development of sports in Nigeria.
You can't write or change any narrative unless you deal with the fundamentals, the foundational issues of our sports. We're going to return back to what it used to be. We had infrastructure before. What happened to those facilities? How can we bring them back? How can we equip them, upgrade them,